to fat.
Fat body.
Are overweight.
Fatty.
Obesity epidemic.
Not beautiful, it's not healthy.
It's fat.
Fat.
In the past few decades, the ideal female body type has been portrayed on multiple mediums as a thin and toned body. When comparing the ideal figure to that of the standard American woman, whose average weight is 166 pounds, there is a major discrepancy in what is the reality of a female size. Therefore, women often feel pressured to fit within a narrow spectrum of weight.
I'm just one stomach flew away from my goal weight.
A survey conducted at the Pennsylvania State University of approximately 100 students reveals that 85% believe that society's expectation for beauty is not realistic. It is important to also indicate that the same 85% also felt pressured to comply with these expectations. People who are of a larger size often find themselves subjected to body shaming. Discrimination based on weight inspired Bill Fabry to create the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance in 1969. Since then, activists have come together in the fat acceptance movement, also known as fativism, which strives to promote beauty and healthy living regardless of a person's size or weight.
This is the footage they use because they always show the fat person eating.
While this is a fairly recent movement, their ideals and motives can be traced back to the mid-1900s. In the 1950s, Marilyn Monroe captivated society through her looks. Today, she is known as one of the most iconic women in American history, despite the fact that she does not fit in today's standard of beauty. She was busty, voluptuous, and perfectly illustrated the hourglass figure, which at the time was considered the pinnacle of beauty. In fact, mass media had shamed skinny figures, with ads claiming that skinny girls were not glamorous and were undesirable to men. However, this all drastically changed in the 1960s. With changing times came a changing standard of beauty. No longer was a full-figured woman considered beautiful. Rather, a thin, short-haired, boyish-looking girl who had a modest chest and butt became the ideal image for all women. For example, Leslie Lawson, more commonly known as Twiggy, became the Marilyn Monroe of the time. This trend in idolizing a slender body type only heightened with time. In the 70s, singer Karen Carpenter, who died of anorexia in 1983, was an example of a public figure who began dieting at starvation levels in order to achieve this skinny status. This transition towards the slim figure reached its capstone with the 1990s heroin chic look, epitomized by Kate Moss. Beauty was determined by the thinness of a woman who, with the addition of large black circles under their eyes, looked drugged. Moss herself has said, "Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels." At the same time, through the emergence of standardized sizes in clothing, women became more attentive to their sizes and that of those around them. Compounded with advances in food science, such as the discovery of the calorie, people began quantifying their health more than ever. At the turn of the century, beauty became commonly associated with a very specific type of fitness. This specificity excludes those who may be active in exercise and are living healthily, but are of a greater size.
Separate the idea of weight from healthy behavior. Yes. Now, I have students that when they come to me, when they start my class, they can barely walk from the car to my class. And over the course of a year, I'll take them from that point to working out 3+ hours per week. But they haven't necessarily lost a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. Some of them have lost no weight, and they've had these medical improvements, and they've had these life improvements.
The fat acceptance movement argues and promotes that one does not have to be thin in order to be healthy.
Wellness-based approach. We emphasize wellness, not weight loss. That encourages people to reconnect with their bodies, to listen to your body when it's full, when it's hungry, to exercise.
However, there's a wealth of evidence to support that being overweight does put people at risk for type 2 diabetes, a stroke, gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, breathing problems, high blood pressure, and coronary heart disease. The health repercussions of obesity have also aided in the arguments of critics. Most notably, Mimi Roth, founder of the National Action Against Obesity, has voiced her thoughts on numerous talk shows.
I think that we want to try to pretend that overweight is healthy because it's dangerous.
And the reality is, while anorexia is so serious, we lose about 200 lives a year to anorexia. With obesity, it's 800 lives every day.
Because a health at every size is a lie. If you starve yourself into damage, that's unhealthy. Or if you eat yourself into damage, that's not healthy.
You're making a lot of assumptions.
That's just not. That's not.
Despite the health implications and the critics' backlash, activists believe it is important to note that fat discrimination is the fourth most prevalent form of discrimination.
I think fat people are paid less than thin people. Fat people are abused on the street. I had someone write on my blog about how she was out jogging and someone drove by and threw garbage at her.
I think that the concern for health is often a mask to discriminate or to be cruel to them.
I don't think it matters what size you are. I think it's time to represent all kinds of women.
Throughout history, women of all sizes have disagreed on the proper terminology and language to use when referring to sizes 14 through 34. The terms plus size and curvy, associated with such sizes, have been both justified and scrutinized by the public.
So explain, what is a plus size model?
You know, that's a really good question. I've always been told the plus size starts at a size 8 and it goes up to a size 16, 18.
It starts at 8?
Yes. For me, I just like to call it like curvasexalicious.
Curvasexalicious?
Yes.
With regards to the fat acceptance movement, the representatives are frustrated with models and women who disapprove of the terms. Rather, the movement suggests that women must find pride in being plus size and curvy.
No one should be comfortable at a size 14. Well, I sure the hell am.
Do you see those rolls? Welcome to the bakery, honey.
Lane Bryant, a company that specializes in plus-size clothing, instituted a campaign where women were to post their plus-size clothing with a caption, #+is_equal. In part, the controversy of the fat acceptance movement is that many women who are of larger sizes would prefer to not be labeled at all or depicted by their weight, but rather seen as everyone else.
You call yourself Fat Amy?
Yeah, so twig bitches like you don't do it behind my back.
Many overweight women feel that overweight characters on television are seen as always eating and lazy, which real overweight women find extremely offensive.
And we just found out that the two have made a pact not to fall into the Hollywood trap and lose weight.
Actress Ashley Fink, who plays Lauren Zizes on Glee, believes that Hollywood has gotten better at portraying fat people on TV. They normalized her weight, even displaying it as an asset rather than an obstacle in her life. Celebrities speaking out in support of all body types have enabled the fat acceptance movement to gain popularity. This new attitude about body acceptance has become extremely prevalent in society. Social media has played a major role in the fat acceptance movement. Hashtags and posts related to the movement have sparked thousands of messages dedicated to inspiring women to love their bodies no matter the size. #RockTheCropTop was made popular by Instagram famous plus-size model Tess Holliday. According to the Washington Post, the hashtag has been used in nearly 900,000 posts. Another trending social media star is plus-size model Ashley Graham. Graham has recently made history as the first ever plus-size model to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
True. And the moment that I realized, you know what? I don't have to fit into a certain standard. I don't have to be a certain kind of woman. I have to be my own woman, the woman that my mother created me to be. And that's when my confidence came out.
The fat acceptance movement has come a long way since it was first introduced to society. People are beginning to want equal rights for every person, regardless of what they look like. This movement would not be where it is today without the help of social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter, the support of celebrities, and the evolving television industry. While the fat acceptance movement has captivated thousands of followers, there are still those who oppose this movement and call it an excuse for women to be unhealthy. Even as beauty standards continue to change, women everywhere are learning that they don't necessarily need to change with them, just that they need to be healthy and love their body.
I don't wanna be left behind. Distance was a friend of mine.